On April 16, 2022, the body of an unidentified boy was found in a rural wooded area in Washington County. About 80 feet from the road, a man found a brightly colored suitcase with a distinctive Las Vegas sign. He was frightened and wanted to call the police immediately, but after thinking about it, he decided that it was nothing serious and opened it. What he saw there shocked him. In 2 black garbage bags was the lifeless body of a child. In this video, we will reveal the gruesome details of the crime. Who is the killer? And most importantly, what was the motive? Who needed to kill an innocent 5-year-old child, and why? The answers to these questions will shock you. On the quiet streets of a small neighborhood, a horrific crime shocked the entire community. The murder of a young boy has shaken the whole town, leaving everyone searching for answers to many questions. On that fateful day, we received a call from a mushroom picker, Jeffrey Meredith, who informed us of a suitcase found in a wooded area in southern Indiana. Little did we know that inside that suitcase was the lifeless body of a boy. When I opened the suitcase and saw this little fella, his eyeballs, he was screaming for help, and the only thing I knew to do is to call 911. This is how Jeffrey describes this horrific incident. According to Police Sergeant Carrie Hulls, the child's body was found clean and clothed, with no signs of violent death and no indication that he had been put in the suitcase alive. There were no witnesses, no family members, no friends who could provide any information, Hulsey said. We only had what was at the scene. The case turned out to be much more complicated than it seemed at first glance, and investigators worked hard to find at least some clues that would lead to the boy's identification, and then to the killer. The police assumed that the boy, who was described as dark-skinned, thin, and with a short haircut, had died about a week before he was found. After his body was found, no one could identify the boy. The little stranger did not fit any description of missing children. His trace did not appear in the national database, which slowed down the months-long investigation into the case. Until the boy's identity is established, it will be difficult for investigators to determine who is responsible for his death. An autopsy was performed 3 days later, but unfortunately it did not reveal the final cause of death. Investigators had to wait another 4 weeks for the results of the toxicology. After waiting for the results, it was officially established that the cause of death was an electrolyte imbalance caused by vomiting and diarrhea, which led to dehydration. According to the investigation, the boy had died no more than a week before his body was found. The unidentified boy was buried in June 2022 at a cemetery in Salem, Indiana. The police chaplain said during the memorial service that the unknown child was an unknown angel at the time. This is what the grave of the unknown angel looked like. There were no parents, no relatives, no one who might have known him at the funeral. There were only investigators and caring people who brought soft toys and flowers to say goodbye to the little unknown. It shows how much the Washington County community loves this little boy. Meanwhile, fingerprints were found on the plastic bags in which the boy's body was wrapped, and they turned out to belong to 37-year-old Dejon Ludi Anderson and 40-year-old Dawn Elaine Coleman. On October 14, 2022, an arrest warrant was issued for them. Both were charged with neglect of a dependent, resulting in death and obstruction of justice. It is worth noting one more important fact. Coleman's social media posted photos where the same bright suitcase with the inscription Los Angeles was visible in the background. That was a good reason to consider her involved in the boy's death. The suspect in the child's death, Dawn Elaine Coleman, was arrested on October 19, 2022, on the San Francisco Peninsula, California. Coleman and the boy were not related. The police did not want to disclose their relationship. But as it turned out, Coleman was a friend of Ludi Anderson, who was the mother of the unknown angel. They knew each other for about a year and, according to Coleman, lived together and traveled a lot. The woman agreed to cooperate with the investigation and told them the boy's name, who killed him, and where the killer was. Cairo Ammar Jordan is the name that belonged to him. At the time of his death, he was only 5 years old, the age when a child's consciousness begins to form, the age when we feel the most joy even from simple things, and at this happy age his life was taken from him. Coleman admitted that she walked into the bedroom of their Louisville home, where she saw Anderson lying on top of Kairo, who was lying face down on the bed. Coleman told police that it was already done when she walked in and Anderson asked her to help put Kairo in a garbage bag and then a suitcase. They then drove Kairo's body to a wooded area of Washington County, where they dumped the suitcase. Police also found phones belonging to the women in the area where Kairo's body was found. In addition, Riverlink data revealed that a car belonging to Anderson crossed the bridge between Louisville and southern Indiana on the day the body was found. The victim in this case was an innocent child barely 5 years old. It is always tragic when a child's life is taken. It is incomprehensible when those who are supposed to take care of the child are responsible, said police prosecutor Tara Hunt. Dawn Elaine Coleman, a 41-year-old woman from Shreveport, Louisiana, was sentenced to 30 years, suspended for 5 years. She pleaded guilty to a first-degree charge of conspiracy to commit murder in connection with the death of Cairo Ammar Jordan. Under Indiana law, Coleman must serve more than 18 years, which requires those convicted of first-degree felonies to serve 75% of their sentence, according to the Washington County Prosecutor's Office. Judge Larry Medlock said, "You packaged Kairo like garbage. He was an innocent little boy who wanted to be loved." On October 24, 2022, an arrest warrant was issued for Ludi Anderson for the murder of Cairo Jordan. The woman is currently at large. Anderson was last known to be in the Echo Park neighborhood of Los Angeles, California. She was also in Houston, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco. According to Police Sergeant Carrie Halls, investigators feel they are moving towards solving the case while mourning the death of 5-year-old Kairo. "We are committed to following this case through to the end," said Washington County Prosecutor Tara Hunt. "None of the law enforcement officers and agencies involved in this sad case will find closure until we have ensured Kairo's mother is held accountable for her actions. This conviction is only the first step in obtaining justice for Kairo." An interesting fact is that on March 12, 2022, Anderson had a collision with the South Carolina Highway Patrol and was charged with several traffic violations and child endangerment. She was allegedly driving 92 miles per hour in a 60-mile-per-hour zone. She led the chase for about 30 miles in a 2019 Dodge Challenger before running out of gas. Police said Dawn Elaine Coleman and a child, who Anderson said was her 5-year-old son, were also in the car. Police broke the rear driver's side window to get to the woman after she failed to comply with police instructions. Anderson was arrested, and Coleman and the child went to a hotel where the police took them. Less than a month after the South Carolina incident, and about a month before her son's death, Anderson was arrested in Louisville, Kentucky, and charged with second-degree robbery after she was caught trying to shoplift from a Von Maur store in the city on March 31st. According to her arrest report, she was stopped by a security guard, punched him in the face, and tried to run away. On April 11th, she was released on recognizance. Her son's body was found 5 days later. Anderson made the post on her Facebook account. On April 11th, after she was released from a prison in Louisville, Kentucky, Anderson wrote, "Just got out of a prison mission and had to do some healing and killing." According to court documents, in the days before Kairo's murder, his mother made a series of several other disturbing posts on social media. "I survived my 5-year-old's fatal sécheresse for the 5 years he lived," she wrote on Twitter on April 12. "I was able to weaken his powers through our blood. I have his real name and he is 100 years old. He needs help." She also mentioned the need to cast out a very powerful demonic force from inside my son, adding, "Just because the avatar is what we call a child, doesn't mean it's actually a child. There are beings here who shouldn't be here, who choose avatars to hide behind, to play roles, to steal energy and destroy lives," she wrote. Kairo's memory lives on, and his story continues to resonate with all of us. May his tragic loss serve as a catalyst for change, ensuring the safety and well-being of all children. After 6 months of investigation, Cairo Jordan's name was added to a monument at the cemetery. The small stone gravestone reads, "In loving memory of a beloved little boy, known but to God, Cairo Ammar Jordan." This is the story, friends. We will keep an eye on this case. I hope that in the near future, Cairo's mother will be detained by the police and will be punished as she deserves. When there are new details, I will release the second part of this case. So if you are interested, subscribe to the channel to not miss new videos. Take care of yourself and your family. See you soon.